Before we go to that, let me read what some of the Greek philosophers have said about necessity, free will, and chance. Because that is very pertinent. She is a learned lady, so let us at least open the encyclopedia and see what it's all about, you see. You see, there is no free will in randomness, obviously. There is no free will in randomness. There is no free will also in determinism. If there is a cause and effect law going to follow, free will is not present there at all, you see. You have to go by Newtonian law. An effect is produced because of a cause. It is only a certain force which will produce an action. So there is a determinism in that, and there is no question of free will in the deterministic formulation of philosophy. Same way, if everything is random, chance, there is a question of free will there. There is no question of free will there at all. So they say that if there is a free will, it means that it cannot be determinism, it cannot be free will, it cannot be the randomness. If there is free will, you see, and vice versa. Behind all change, there are rules and laws. This is what Heraclitus says. Heraclitus is the philosopher of flux, changing time, changing time. You cannot step in the same water twice. The river is flowing, you just put your step in that. You can't put your step again in the same water because the water has gone away. Some new water has come here, you see. New water. You cannot step in the same water twice. If therefore there has to be a change, then that change is to be governed by rule or law. In other words, he says that it is not random, it is not free will. He is a kind of a deterministic person. Then we have Democritus. He wanted to wrest control. You see, what is free will? What is God's will? What is chance, etc.? It means that you are mortgaging your responsibility to somebody else. God is doing something, माँ बनाएगी जो चाहिए होगा. Mother will take care of me. You are abdicating your own responsibility, your own commitment to do things. You can't simply say, Mother will take care of everything. You have a certain responsibility to do. See. You have to do something. Then she will take care of it. You have to do something of your own, then she will do something. You can't say that Bhagwan banayega, see, God will take care of everything. It's not that. Now that was the thing which was prevalent in the mythological age of Greek. The Olympian gods, they determined the fate of the war. They determined the fate of war. Whatever quarrels were happening there, they were transplanted here on earth. That is how it happened. So, now that was the earlier formulation, that it is Creator's will that everything will happen. But it is not there. Democritus says, no, it cannot be. It means that you are abdicating your own responsibility in life. It cannot be. There are certain factors which you have to take care of yourself and you have to participate in those happening. Democritus wanted to wrest control of man's fate. Man's fate is not governed by God in that sense. He wants to take control of the fate himself. Man must take control of his fate, basically, and make as more responsible. It is only by taking control of fate yourself that you become a more responsible person. If you want to really grow, develop your own personality, you have to take control of your fate and then do things. Otherwise, it will happen from above. No. Makes more responsible for his own action. Man must be responsible for his own action. He must reap the fruit of his action, good or bad, whatever. Then only he can really progress and grow, which is a very powerful philosophy also, you see. That led to physical determinism. So, naturally, Democritus, when he says that, it means that it becomes deterministic. You do this, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. Now, it is a kind of a materialist philosophy. The laws of matter are governed, the matter is governed by certain laws and it will follow those laws. In the same manner, you take control of it. It is not that God will come and shape matter by itself like this, like this, like this. It has to be governed and done like that. In fact, Democritus is the first philosopher who spoke of the will of the atom, of matter, in that sense. And it is that which will happen. It is governed by certain law. So, for him, what is supreme is the law of nature. You follow law of nature and it will unfold. You are responsible for that, not from other chance. No question of chance, free will, nothing you see. Then we have Eusebius. Nothing occurs at random. He said, straightaway says, nothing occurs at random, but everything for a reason, by necessity. There must be some cause other than accidental. For anything to happen, there must be some cause than accidental. That is what Aristotle says. Some cause other than accident. Well, yet there are accidents. There are accidents. Shivandu slipped over the tiger skin and broke his right thigh bone, not left, as I told you. Right thigh bone, you see. It's an accident, you see. But was it really an accident? Not at all. In other words, behind what we see things, there are other forces which are operating, of which we have not had knowledge. There are occult workings of things. And Shivandu says, I was trying to protect the mother from an hostile attack. And he says, I forgot to take care of myself. I forgot to take care of myself. You see. Well, that is a way of saying, forgot to take care of myself. Again, it was perhaps necessary. Perhaps it would not have but happened that way. It is not a question of he forgot. The accident has a much deeper sense in that. See, in 1938, Shabindu wrote that famous sonnet, Thy golden light, coming down, 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 down into my physical everywhere. He was charged with that. His body was getting supramentalized, everywhere. And it was in 1938, just 2 months after that, he wrote that sonnet on 8th August 1938. And the accident took place on 24th November 1938. Why did the accident take place? Had the body been fully supramentalized, there would not have been any question of accident. There cannot be an accident. There cannot be an accident. So it is that transition which was exploited by the hostile, by the adverse. The transition. It had to happen. And what a tremendous thing. Immediately after the accident, the entire scale turned upside down. Shivandu gave a totally different direction to things to follow. See, in that sense, it was not an accident. It was a governed chance, if at all you want to call it, you see. It was a governed chance. Partly it was governed by himself in a major way, in a major sense. It was governed from above. It was governed from above. Then only things could roll on, you see. Here is Epicurus. What does Epicurus say? Some things happen of necessity. Necessity is there for writing, therefore I invent a new pen. Necessity. Others by chance. Others through our own agency. He is leaving all the three options open. Necessity destroys responsibility. He is very forthright. If you say it is necessity, then you are not responsible at all. You can pass on the buck to somebody else, then you see. Destroy response. And chance is inconstant. It is not in your control. You cannot govern. So again, you had nothing to do with me, that you see. Our own actions are autonomous. Autonomous. My own things. Yeah. Our own. That is what is. That is what is it. In fact, that is the right spirit. That is the true spirit. Our own actions. Later on, let all the forces work. It is by my autonomous actions I will grow and understand the working of nature and other things in this world. Then the last quotation I will read is Cicero's. Cicero. If there is free will, all things do not happen according to fate. Obviously, if there is free will, then there is no question of all things happening due to fate. All things do not happen according to fate. If all things do not happen according to fate, then there is not a certain order of causes. It's quite logical. Certain order of causes. If there is not certain order of causes, neither there is certain order of things foreknown by God. If there is no order of things, then nothing is certain order of things foreknown by God. Even he also not know, then you see. Huh? Yeah. So now all these things, see now these three questions, what she says here in these three sentences, the entire ancient Western philosophy is packed in these three lines, you see. As I told you, she was a student of Greek philosophy in Cambridge. No, as far as she is concerned, I told you, she will go by governed chance. As far as she is concerned at the moment, you see. Actually, the greater thing is, do we have a free will? Frankly, we don't have a free will at all. We are constantly governed by nature. You say that I like this tea, I like that food, I like this thing, that thing. No, it's not that. Your physical body, your build-up, all those things, they will absorb, they will accept only that kind of a thing, and therefore you say I like. It is not you are liking it at all. It is nature which is demanding you that kind of an input for you. You are governed by nature constantly. There is no free will at all for us, as long as we are governed by nature. There is no free will at all for us, you see. We say that I would like to take a left turn or I would like to go this way, etc. It's not a really free will at all, you see. You are governed by certain forces, by certain things around you, and then you take that path, you see. The free will in, so that is the individual's free will. We are really governed by nature, so there is no free will for us. But if you are to a certain extent master of nature, there is no question of liking at all. I will assimilate whatever kind of food is offered to me. Yes, no problem at all for me. Then my true personality will develop. You see, I will not be governed by the kind of inputs I get from outside. This food, no. I will be able to develop my own true personality and my own physique properly. That is not there at all in Emergency. Then the other factor is, in the case of an individual, he personal free will, so to say, is there. Then there are the cosmic forces working. They're constantly there operating every now and then. You say that, let me go by this method, by this road. All right, I go by this road. But then what is going to happen that I don't know? Maybe some accident is waiting for me there. That is not in my control at all. The cosmic forces are operating, that everything comes together and happens in that manner, you see. Cosmic force, it can happen that way, you see. So that is the individual, that is the cosmic or the universal. And the third is the transcendental force supervising from above and organizing things. Now, obviously, that transcendental force organizing from above and the cosmic forces, fate is a cosmic operation. That way. Now, all that thing can happen only in the case of a very well developed individual. The transcendental force does not operate in the case of a person who is not developed at all. See, you are walking and you had stepped over an ant. Was the ant fated to die? Was it fated to die? These are the cosmic operations. It has not developed its own individuality to organize itself to meet all these contingencies. It has not organized itself. It happens that way. So, in the real sense, it is only when you are a fully developed person that the cosmic forces, the individual force, will and the transcendental, they can work together. And that is exactly what had happened in the case of meeting of Satyavan and Savitri. They are well developed individuals, alert enough to all these three forces. The individual coming out fully, the cosmic operations getting focused on a given point, and the supervising force from above organizing everything for them. It's then only it happens. In the case of a well-developed individual, you see. Otherwise, we are 99.999% slaves of nature. We have absolutely no free will. We have no free will at all, you see, basically. Now, but the beauty of free will is something most wonderful. See, we have in Savitri itself two great instances of how the individual can exercise his free will. His free will. How an individual can exercise his free will. Ashrapati, his soul is free, his spirit is free of nature. He has gone through all the worlds, all the cosmic extensions. In the transcendent plane, on the borderline, he meets the transcendental force, the Divine Mother. And they are face to face each other. And she says, "Welcome, Ashrapati. I know what for you have come," and all that. The Divine Shakti herself is there, and she is asking that question. And she advises him, she tells him very strongly, please don't make haste. She tells him, be cautious. Things will happen in course of time. I am there behind all these operations in this world. Don't be worried about the future of this world, about this creation. I will take care of everything. Don't be impatient. She says, don't be impatient. Because if you become impatient, it can prove calamitous. It can prove disaster. Earth may not be able to bear my pressure, and the whole thing will collapse. She gives him very sage advice to Ashrapati. Now, an ordinary soul would say, yes, your will, Divine Mother, it is your will. I accept what you say. But Ashwapati is Ashwapati. He argues with her. And he says, I am sorry, I am not going to accept your advice, your suggestion. I will exercise my free will, my choice. And he says, ultimately, if things had to change here, it is necessary that you take a mortal birth. You must come down here to take the charge of this mortal creation. He imposes his free will on her will. Now that is kind of a greatness of the true free will. Will that free will? It needs a lot of tapasya to exercise your free will and argue with God Himself. I am sorry, I reject your suggestion. Please do like this, like this, like this. And he tells her, he gives a complete recipe. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And she says, yes, I will come down and things will change in that time. Now that is kind of a free will which comes only with great tapasya. Great tapasya. It cannot come otherwise, you see. Now, we have to grow in that. Then it is real free will. So you can really argue with God there, and God does not get offended. In fact, He wants the authentic free will from every individual. From every individual. It is not that it is one single will of the Supreme which has to operate in this creation. There has to be the multiplicity of truth expression. Each individual has to have his own truth expression in his own manner. The truth expression should come out individually for each individual. So he has to exercise his true individuality by acquiring that free will. Then the real individual is born. Then the real individual, not until then. That's the real birth of the individual, you see. That is what God wants. He says it's not a kind of a blanket statement. You do what I say. No. You have to exercise your free will in the truth will. And the truth will can be in many dimensions. You want to express beauty? Express beauty. You want to express joy? Express joy. It can find its own world of expression. This can find out its own world of expression. And they need not necessarily clash with each other because they are in the truth world. The truth expression of joy and the truth expression of truth, they will not conflict because they are truth expressions. They will not conflict. And that is the true individuality which one has to acquire, you see. That comes only after great tapasya. That is the great example of Ashwapati approaching the Divine Mother and arguing with her. You see, arguing with her. Very forcefully, he says. And she says, oh, strong forerunner. She says, oh, strong forerunner. She wants that. She wants a strong forerunner. Now, the same thing happened in the case of Savitri also. Savitri is face to face with the Supreme. And the Lord tells Savitri, Savitri, you have done a wonderful thing. You have cut a door to the void and come into the transcendental world. Something which had never happened in the entire history of this creation. Cutting through the void door and entering into the transcendental region. It had never happened. She says, Savitri, you have done a wonderful thing. Be happy here. You are here with your Satyavan. Be happy here. Remain here in this happiness. Enjoy the bliss of this world here, of this transcendental. Savitri says, I am sorry, sir. I don't want that. I don't want that happiness. Yes, I am with my Satyavan, but I want, whatever I want is not for myself and for him. I want for the soul of the earth. I want, whatever I want is for the soul of the earth. She insists upon that. She exercises her free will, her choice there, and then she becomes, oh, beautiful slave of God. Then she becomes this beautiful slave of God at that point, you see. Yes, we have fulfilled my will. Whatever is required is for the sake of the earth. So Savitri is exercising her true free will at that point and demanding that thing. So that is the kind of a tapasya one has to do. One has to have an object. What for all this, etc., etc., and stick on to that. Now that kind of a free will comes with with great tapasya only. You see.